Welcome back to the page, guys. I hope you're all well. So in the last video, if you've seen it on this Saxo, you already know exactly what we've got to do. But for those of you that haven't, what I'll do is I will link the first video at the end of this video, so if you want to check it out, then you can. But in this video, what we are going to be doing is we're going to be getting the driver's side sill section cut out. We're going to be getting rid of all the rust and all the rot, and we're going to be getting some fresh steel welded in. But before we get cracking on with that, for those of you that didn't see the last video, what we've got to deal with is this. Now, if I bring the camera down and underneath, you should be able to see that we've got that great big hole there in the driver's sill. And if I bring the camera down to the front of the sill, you'll see we've got a patch there that we also need to get repaired. So what we'll do is we will be cutting off this whole sill section, especially cutting out this area, and then we'll weld some fresh steel into there. So that's what we've got to get cracking on with on this Saxo. So let's not waste any more time. Let's just cue the music, grab some tools, and let's get cracking. Please don't snap. Ooh, that snapped. Something snapped. So now that we've got the front and the rear trims removed, we already had the side skirt off, we've got the wheels off, we've got full access to this lower sill section. Now, you've already seen the bit that we need to get cut out. We are going to have to more than likely do some repairs to the inner section, or at a bare minimum, we are going to have to clean it up. And as you can see, we've got one sill here, and there is one just there behind me, but that will be for the other side. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to get a piece or a section of this new sill cut off, as we don't need all of it. So we're going to get a new piece or a section of that cut off. We can offer it up to the shell of the car, we can mark it out, and then we can get this piece cut off. So there we go, that is the outer sill cut off the Saxo. As you can see, we've got the majority of it there on the floor, and I have just loosely clamped on, as you can see, the new piece, just to show you what I wanted to show you now. Now, you may have noticed while I was cutting down the new section, one, it was too long on the end here, and we have got, if you take a look there, that bit of a sort of contour or the sort of curvature in the rear quarter section, which obviously this sill doesn't have. And as you'll be able to see on the screen, that is because this sill is for a 5-door. Now, I did search high and low to get the right one for a 3-door, but through my suppliers and through scouring the internet, I just couldn't get my hands on a pair of 3-door sills. So we are just having to make do with what we've got here. What I am going to have to do is I am going to have to modify this sill section at the back here. As you can see, it overhangs too far, so it's too deep. So we're going to have to trim that down so it comes in a little bit, and then we are going to have to trim this section here or modify this section so that we get the correct curvature for that rear quarter just there. But another thing that I have been thinking while I was doing this was the fact that we did have those patches on that back section and the front section, and the fact that we are having to use 5-door sills as we couldn't get 3-door sills is the reason why I think it's had some patchwork in the past, as opposed to having the actual sills repaired correctly, or what I would consider to be correctly, using the correct sill piece. But like I say, that's just my opinion, that's just what I think. Let me know in the comments below if you think the same, but for now, I think what we need to do is we need to get this sill modified and we can crack on with the rest of the job. So before we can get the new sill section modified, we do have one more headache to contend with. Now that headache is what you can see on the screen, and for those that aren't sure why it is a headache, let me explain. So now that we've got the outer sill cut off, we are able to see the inner sill, and as you can see at the back here, it is a little sort of scabby. Well, it's rotten. It's not scabby at all, is it? Let's face it. That loop's completely come off there, as you can see. It's rotten there. And if we bring the camera down, you can see that we've still got that sort of outer skin lip to take off. And I'm hoping what's behind it is still good. I mean, it doesn't look too bad apart from this one end, sort of just here. But in order to get this rectified, what we do need to do is we do need to remove the fuel tank. So I think what we're now going to have to do is we're going to have to get all of this out the way. We'll get the wheels back on, and then we can get the car onto the ramp. We can get the tank off, as we don't want to cause any accidents, sort of setting anything on fire, as we're going to be welding here and the fuel tank is just there. So like I say, we'll get all this out the way, we'll get the wheels back on, we'll get it on the ramp, we'll get the tank off, and then we can crack on with the rest of this job. So now that we've got the ramp legs in position, before we send it up in the air, I do just want to check that, one, we don't really have a lot of fuel. Is there a lot of fuel in it? No, that's good. We haven't got a lot of fuel. A great success! So when we do drop the tank, it's not going to be too heavy. And before we, again, drop the tank and get it up in the air, we need to remove the fuel pump fittings from underneath the back seat. So before we start pulling the rear seats out, the first thing we're going to do, as we are going to be messing with wires near the fuel tank, is we're going to disconnect the battery as safety first, and we don't want any accidents. And with that disconnected, we can jump back into the car, pull up the rear bench seat and get that pulled out the way, giving us the access that we need. So now we've got the battery disconnected, we've got the back seat out the way, we've gained access to the top of the fuel tank. While I'm getting the fuel pump disconnected along with the fuel lines, now would be a perfect opportunity to tell you guys about today's video sponsor. And yeah, that's right, you've guessed it, today's video sponsor is Holy. So Holy is a healthier alternative to the energy drinks and soft drinks that are already available on the market today. But unlike those drinks, Holy has zero sugar or artificial sweeteners, no artificial flavours or colours, and each serving works out to less than 20 calories. There's no empty cans or plastic bottles to get rid of, so it's better for the environment, and it's also a lot better on your pocket, as each 500ml serving works out to around about 80 pence. There's also a range of flavours to choose from in the energy, iced tea or hydration range, which all taste amazing and are specifically designed to give you that boost that you're looking for. So if you want to grab your starter pack, all you got to do is follow the link in the description below, use the code TDM5 and that will get you £5 off your first order, and use the code TDM10 to get 10% off every order after that. So now we've got all this disconnected, all I've got to do is get the car back up in the air and get the fuel tank off. So again, thanks Holy, but I think now we need to crack on and get this tank removed. So now that we've got the Saxo back up in the air, before we can get the tank off, we do need to remove the entire exhaust system. As you can probably already see, it is going to stop us from dropping the tank down and out. We also need to remove the fuel filler neck, as again, that is going to stop us from dropping the tank down and out. So once we've got those two things off and out the way, we can undo this 13mm bolt just here. We've also got another 13mm bolt just there. And once those are out, we'll then be able to drop the tank forward and out from underneath the car. So this isn't going to get itself stripped, so let's not waste any more time. Let's just grab some tools and let's get cracking. Wow. So we've got the cable tie holding it up, but we've also got a rubber. Oh. So now that we've got the fuel tank off and out the way, you would have also seen that I removed the fuel filler neck, which if you take a look up there, where's the hole? Yeah, it is. We've got the fuel filler neck out the way just there. So with all that out the way, we are able to get the access that we need to the back of the sill, as obviously the fuel tank was here and we didn't want to cause any fires or explosions when we're cutting and welding this sill back together. So like I say, with that out the way, we can get all this area cleaned up. We are going to clean up the lip of the sill from the back as well. And once we've got the back end of the sill done, we have got to cut this skin out here so we can get this inner skin repaired, then we can get that section welded back on. But like I say, we are going to turn our attention and get this end sorted first. So once we've got this sorted, we'll turn our attention to that end. Then once we've got that end sorted, we'll turn our attention to getting the new outer piece back on. So let's not waste any more time. Let's just grab some tools and let's get cracking. So as you've seen, I have been working away at this end of the sill. Now we have got that end rectified, or pretty much rectified. There is still some more to do, but I'll show you that bit later on. So I thought I'd make a start on this end now. And as you can see, as I've been sort of cleaning up this skin here, it has pretty much turned to dust, as you've probably seen in the last few clips. But we've got a little hole forming there. Now, the only way to get this inner skin rectified, as these Saxos are made up of 3 or 4 different skins, you should be able to see we've got sort of like the inner sill there, we've got this skin here, we've got this skin over this skin, and then you'd have the outer skin. So that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of metal, all to make one sill section. So in order to repair this inner skin here, what we need to do is we need to get the rear wheel put back onto the car. Once the wheel's back on, we can get it onto the floor. I can quickly jump inside. I can pull the carpet up, as I don't want to set fire to anything behind here when I'm cutting and welding. So I'm going to attempt to pull the carpet up. I may have to remove the driver's seat to be able to pull it up enough. I'm not 100% sure, but the only way to know is to get the wheel back onto there and get the car back onto the floor. So with the wheel back on the car and the car on the floor, we could get inside and get this carpet up and out the way. Now, luckily, I didn't need to remove the seat, so after sliding it all the way back, I unbolted some screw type thing that was holding the carpet to the A-post, and then I could get the carpet pulled up and out the way. Now, while I was doing this, I realised I would need to get more access to the end of that sill, and the only way to do that was to remove the driver's wing. So after unbolting the 13mm at the bottom and the various 10s across the top, and not forgetting to unclip the trim below the driver's headlight so that we didn't snap it off, that was the driver's side wing removed as well. So now that we have got the passenger wing off, along with the little trim piece that sits underneath the headlight just along here, you will be able to see that the gift that keeps on giving, the actual bumper bracket itself, is completely and utterly, I mean, I'm probably going to be able to just pull that clean off. Not quite, but it's hanging on for the skin of its life. And as you can see, the rest of it is on the floor down there. So we are going to have to sort that as well. Before we even think about touching this bumper bracket, we've now got the access that we need, if I bring the camera down, to be able to get into the rest of the backside of this section of the sill here, as we are trying to repair the inner sill section, working our way in and out. So now that we have got the access that we need to that lower sill section, I think what we now need to do is get the car back up in the air. We can get that outer sill piece cut off. We can see and assess just how far we've got to go to repair it. Once we've assessed it, we can then crack on, get it cut out and weld in some fresh steel. So let's get this car back up in the air. So now that we've got all of the rust cut out and we've got some rust treatment onto the bare metal, while we're letting that cure, what we're now going to do, if I bring the camera around, we're going to turn our attention to making up some new pieces to weld back in. Now this is what we cut out last, so obviously the last piece we cut out is the first piece that we have to put back in. So we have got a piece of sheet steel here, and we're going to trace this shape out onto the steel there. Obviously draw around it, scratch around it, whatever we're going to do. Then we'll cut that shape out, and then once we've got a new piece of that, we can then offer that up to the car, trim it down, make sure that it is going to fit into place. But also you may have noticed that this piece is actually in two skins. So we've got the inner skin just here, you can see the spot welds there, and then we've got the outer skin, which is the rusty piece just there. So we need to cut a strip, which is, well, I'll measure how deep it is, we'll get the correct measurements, but we'll cut that strip, we'll weld the strip into the floor first. Then once we've got that bit back in, we can then make this outer shape with an extension piece, as obviously the bottom piece there will need to come down and be level with the bottom of the sill line, as obviously we cut it there. So once we've got that piece made, we can get that welded in. Then once we've got that welded in, we can get all of the other bits and pieces that we got cut out previously cleaned up, as they're not completely dead and too far past it. So we'll get that cleaned up, and then we can get everything zinc primed. Once everything's all zinc primed, along with this piece just here, and we've made a new lip for the bottom of there, as you can see, it is a little bit too far gone. So we'll make a new lip there. Again, we'll get it all zinc primed, and then once we've got all that sorted, we can get all of this pieced back together onto the car. But we're not going to be doing that in this video. We are going to be getting this put back together in the next video. So if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, now is the perfect opportunity to go and do just that. Hit that subscribe button and you can see me getting this Saxo all put back together again. If you like this kind of content, give the video a like, and also drop a comment and let me know of what you think we have done to this Saxo so far. So as always, thanks for watching, thanks for following, and I'll see you lot in the next one. Altogether, Mint. Man, it's hot. Whew.